Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Inside On Demand on Channel 103.
And we are now happy to be joined via Skype by Jeff Borzello from CBSSports.com. Jeff, welcome to you and your new haircut. We're happy to talk with you.
Yeah, it's not that new. I'm just kind of growing it out, but thanks for having me and my haircut on.
Yeah, I don't believe that's just happened for 1 second. That's styled professionally. And I give you credit because I can't do that with my hair. It's falling out. So 2 thumbs up to you. But moving on to recruiting, the 2013 class now is where John Calipari's kind of turning his attention. At the top, of course, is Jabari Parker. Sports Illustrated said best high school player since LeBron. Do you agree with that? Or as a player, what kind of player is he?
I mean, I don't think he's the best high school player since LeBron. I think that's kind of an exaggeration, but, it got people talking, which was probably the whole goal of the headline. I do think he's clearly the best player in 2013. His basketball IQ and his feel for the game is just, head and shoulders above everyone else, and that's kind of what separates him from the pack. He's been injured a little bit in the spring, so people have kind of closed the gap on, between 1 and 2, but, I still think he's number 1, and, when he's healthy, I think, he's a future NBA 10-year, 10-time, 7-time All-Star.
His schools, he hasn't been very specific. He has a long list of schools. Where do you think Kentucky factors in there? I know they're on the list, but are they a real contender to land him?
Right now, I think Michigan State would probably have the lead. I think Duke is in the mix also. Kentucky, they're on the list. I don't really think they're number 1 or number 2, but, he hasn't really spoken a lot about each school, and he has talked about Kentucky. He said he likes the way they play, but right now I think Michigan State would probably be the leader for him.
Now, another guy that has a long list that Kentucky kind of factors into is Julius Randle, a big, strong power forward. Yesterday we talked about him. He's vicious, attacks the rim. As a player, where does he project or compare at the next level?
And he's kind of a big forward. He's about 6'8", and he's just very strong, and he just overpowers everyone in his way. He has ball handling ability. He likes to, create plays for his teammates too. He's just really tough to guard. I mean, if you put a bigger guy on him, he'll bring him out to the perimeter. You put a smaller guy on him, he'll just back him down and score inside. So he's just really, really tough to guard. And I think he's just going to be productive no matter where he plays or, what level he's at.
Now, those are 2 guys that, of course, factoring into to Kentucky's mix for 2013. But the Harrison twins are 2 guys that a lot of people think could pull the trigger for the Cats, whether it's soon or a couple months down the road. As prospects, I know that they're both top 10 guys, but as prospects, where do you project them at the next level? And do you think that Kentucky's the leader right now?
Yeah, I think Kentucky's certainly the leader for both of them. I think Andrew Harrison's better than Aaron right now, and he's just, a tremendous point guard. He's about 6'5", and he can get by anybody. There's nobody really that keeps him out of the lane. He's starting to develop a jump shot a little bit, and he's just so difficult to guard. But on the other hand, Aaron Harrison's also a top 5 kid, and, he's getting some ball handling ability. He showed the ability to run the point when his brother was out, either with foul trouble or an injury. And he's just getting better and better. He can carry a team when his shot's falling. Both of them, future NBA players.
Are they the case where are they the same player, or is one of them, is it naturally a point guard? I know they play alongside each other. Do they play alongside each other because they're the 2 best guards on their team? Or are they actually the best point guard, the best shooting guard, or is it just how they play on the court right now?
Andrew's more of a point guard. He's got better ball handling ability, better creative, playmaking ability. Aaron has better shot, better mid-range. So, they just kind of fit perfectly into a point guard, shooting guard role.
Now, James Young is another guy that his name has popped up a lot recently in terms of Kentucky pursuing him. Not a lot known about him by Kentucky fans, but he's a top 10 guy with a lot of talent. Tell us about James Young and what you can project him to do at the next level.
He was a five-star kid coming into the spring, and then he kind of just took his game to a new level. And his scoring ability is just out of this world. I mean, he can score in so many different ways. He could shoot the ball, get to the rim, finish at the rim. And he's just getting better and better as an offensive player. He's kind of the prototypical 6'6" kind of wing scorer that everyone loves. And, he recently got a Kentucky offer, if I'm correct. And, he talked about wanting an offer from them back in the spring, and now he has it. So, you got to consider Kentucky probably one of the favorites for him.
Well, one guy who's been talking a long time about getting an offer from Kentucky is Chris Walker. It's kind of a strange story. He's a guy that has tons of talent, one of the best players in the country, has said many, many times that he wants UK to offer him, and at times has said that they were the favorite. But there hasn't kind of seemed to be a mutual interest. What's the story with Chris Walker? Do you get the feeling that Kentucky just isn't that interested in him?
That's what it seems. I mean, he's been talking forever that, he wants Kentucky offer, and if they offer, they're the favorite, and he would love to go to Kentucky and play for Calipari, but they just haven't pulled the trigger on an offer, and it just kind of doesn't seem like it. I mean, he's immensely talented. He's one of the top 8 kids in the class, but, he doesn't bring it on a consistent basis, and, maybe they're going harder after, James Young, the Harrisons, Parker, Randall, and some of the other guys. So if they don't offer him, he might go to Florida or Kansas. But Kentucky, if they offer, they're probably number one on his list. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, John Calipari's in an interesting position where he can be selective even among those top 10 guys, and it's interesting to see which guys he goes after. Earlier this week, you had an article about Troy Williams. Not too long ago, he was down to Kentucky, North Carolina, thought to be selecting between the two. He's pushed it back a little bit. Where's he stand right now in his recruitment?
It seems like he's kind of waiting until the fall to make a decision. I don't know how much UNC and Kentucky really want him anymore. He waited, and his stock has kind of fallen a little bit. He's not a top 15, top 20 kid anymore. He's more along, top 40, top 50. And if they don't want him, he's got a host of other schools in the mix for him, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, schools like that. But UNC and Kentucky, he said they were still his favorites, a couple of weeks ago. I just don't know if the interest is the same from those two schools anymore.
All right, Jeff Borzello, thank you very much. You guys can follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff Borzello. Tell him where to find a barber or something. Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me on.